We haven't necessarily asked for questions or voted on this motion. Correct? The questions?
Well, first I'd like to introduce myself. I don't know most of the people in the room, but my name is Joy Benetti, and I just bought the property at 569 School Bend. This is my first meeting, so.
Great, thanks.
And I guess I was somewhat confused by how this, I'm not clear how this works, but you have owners here kind of listening from afar to what you guys are discussing. It's difficult to not have a question, at the point you're discussing it. But I agree with the sense that if there's not a problem, why go looking for it? But also, it seems like the deed restrictions should be somewhat broad so that you don't box yourself in to something. And plus, in the same way that I sense the friocielo is a welcoming place that has a lot of nature and a lot of things to protect, to clamp down on it so hard seems to be kind of directly opposed to why everybody bought something. Now, getting to my question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, all of this restructuring of the deed restrictions, is this something that the homeowners will be privy to at some point and be allowed to vote on, since it affects every home?
I don't think it just calls for a vote from the homeowners. The board has been designated to do this, and we've had a meeting that the board has the responsibility to do that. On the other hand, to do it without input from the owners, I don't think anybody's trying to forbid that.
Well, that was just my question.
Vote is a question of process,
right.
or formal process.
Right.
But other than that, certainly, owners should be expressing their opinion. That's part of why we have open board meetings.
Right. Okay, well, that's just my question, because if someone were to come to me and say, we just decided this for you, and I didn't have any opportunity to say something about it, or to have a chance to discuss it and fully understand it, I would be kind of upset about it.
Yeah, how long do you own the ranch?
How long have I owned on the ranch? My closing was May 30th of this year.
Okay, cool. Get to know all of us, and
Sure.
have conversations with us, and go to the frio-cielo.org website.
Yes, I've been there.
And we receive emails and so on.
Okay. Well, I don't have your, or I guess I have your email address. I don't have anything for Larry, a couple other people.
For why, Larry?
There's not an email? Okay.
Any of the board members, they can forward the information.
We
But
call
so your comments were largely about process. Do you have an opinion that you want to share with us about what we're about seem to be doing here?
Well, yeah, I guess my opinion would be, you do tend to begin to cross the line when you tell an owner what they can or can't do on the property they purchase and maintain, as outside of the deed restrictions, which of course is why you're addressing things in the deed restrictions.
Right.
But, for example, I have rented from Fred, and yes, I did have to provide all the contact information, the deposit, etc. And he's very clear. Here are my rules, here are the ranch rules. If you have any questions, talk to me. And I guess the confusion I see is if you're renting out camping space, then why is that any different than renting, Fred renting his place for a weekend? I mean, it's a dwelling, yes, but you're asking for the same information, and he's only doing it for a limited time. And to me, if I had something in existence and somebody said, well, we thought long and hard about it, we discussed it, and now we kind of decided that we're not going to be able to do that anymore, because there haven't been any problems, I would kind of ask myself, well, why is that? I mean, maybe you can grandfather Fred in, and Fred's not here, I don't know Fred enough to speak for him, I'm just being devil's advocate. So, if it works, why fix it?
Right. I mean, you heard that every time we discussed Fred, we all said what he's doing is great.
Right.
And the reason that we tried to find ways to do that, and then we got into it, so we recognized that the deed restrictions is about what all owners can do, and then suddenly we have to go through lots of detail, and we've come to a consensus here that just doesn't work. And Fred is in violation of the deed restrictions. Nobody's interested in shutting down Fred or making his life difficult, because the deed restrictions, however awkwardly worded, say it is for private residential purposes. And while it didn't specify long-term rental, it's pretty clear to all of us who go back quite a ways with this. The intention is not weekend resort kind of rental. It is long-term residential rental, and it says a lot about the environment and so on.
Right.
So that's how we came to where we did, and
Yeah.
that's where we are.
We've had the people up here before that decided to shoot here. You know, they decided to shoot here.
Oh,
you know,
I've
we've
heard
had a lot of things happen, but
Sure.
guests coming up here, and so they kind of force their hand to kind of try to protect the people that own property out here. You know, there's people that have bigger people in place and keep everybody up. And,
Right.
you know, there's a few different things. So I try to want everybody to, we want one big family out here, both one. You know, everybody be happy, everybody agree. We appreciate all the input, and everything. We want to make everybody happy. We can't make everybody happy at the same time. But try to, you know, do the right thing.
The ranch goes back almost 40 years as an organization.
Right, I've got the
And-
deed restrictions.
Sorry?
I've got the deed restrictions we all have, so,
Right, and some of us go back with it that far.
cool.
And so, for the most part, it has worked on the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The more people get here, and the more people who then skate outside the boundaries, causes us to have to do what you always have to do, and that is make more firmly defined boundaries. That's where we are after 40 years of experience.
I guess and I know other people have questions or comments, so the only other thing I would say is sometimes if you get more participation from the owners, and I realize you can't pay them to come here, but you could though, you got a pretty good budget.
That's fine, it's
Yeah,
fine.
sure.
It's a good budget as long as people are volunteering their time
Right.
and doing the work. That gentleman is in here with,
I know,
who
he's
just had
over,
eye
yeah.
surgery.
Yeah.
He's out there doing burn files, and he's up at 2 o'clock in the morning fixing. So that budget works well for people doing that when the budget I guess you tripped a trigger for me,
Yeah.
because a lot of us work very hard. We look forward to you being a volunteer and offering your time.
I think I can probably manage to do that.
I
The
think
only other
that'd be
point I
great.
have is that a lot of times, let's use Fred as an example, because we're throwing his name around, hopefully his ears are ringing. But if people have an opportunity, you said we kicked this around and whatever, and I stood here and listened to you do it, and you've probably done it before this. But when people participate in acquiring a solution, they're more invested in it, and therefore they, may come up with a